Open up your third eye. Black helicopters in the sky. Exit the Stargate.
Alan Moore's mesmerizing Promethea, the title seen here inside octagons, makes vivid the interchangeability, symbolically, of Mercury, Hermes, Thoth, and Prometheus. Take note also of the wings on the side of her head. Wings we also see on feet, of particularly, but not exclusively, Thoth-related gods. Pre-9/11 issues of the comic are set in a New York hospital called the South Tower Hospital. Part 3 of these videos showed how many synchronicities involving the Twin Towers seem to favor the South Tower, and I see the footprint of the mystery again at work in this magician's play. Benny Solomon, a sorcerer, sends the hordes of the Goetia after Promethea in the South Tower, after invoking the clavicle of King Solomon. The Twin Towers of the World Trade Center have been shown to be representations of Jachin and Boaz, the pillars of Pharaoh Solomon's temple. Aleister Crowley's Oz 77 he-goat sigil has been found on the sphere sculpture in the New York Wizard of Oz movie, The Wiz. And President W. Bush, Crowley's possible grandson's reading of the pet goat coincident with the start of 9/11 has been suggested as a lineage-connected invocation of Pan. Many astonishing connections to 9/11 and Spider-Man were unveiled in this series. Telling then to find one of the demons seen attacking our female Thoth Hermes resonator inside the South Tower is Baal or Baal, a spider demon. The by now familiar scenario repeats itself again with Webhead fighting a transforming robot with the help of some other heroes, including the winged-headed thunder god Thor in the 1989 Damage Control. Spidey ends up inside the monster and deactivates it, coming to rest, crushing against the pyramids. Back in our caduceus or staff of Hermes sporting New York South Tower, Promethea enters an altered state of consciousness. The path to this realm is entered through globe-topped pillars akin to those usually cited as fronting Solomon's temple. I currently believe these pillars' evolution to be intimately tied to the possibly psychedelic blue lily of Egypt, as depicted in this Masonic drawing, the capitals underneath the spheres being of lily design. While her human form remains in the South Tower, other elements that have been cited lately are also seen on the plane she enters, relevant to our current focus, such as bees, Saturn, and Oz-resonant giant emerald crystals. Something else worth highlighting is the association of Thoth-originated characters like Promethea with non-human primates. Along with Promethea, we find Phothamon, a Conan villain, summon a large ape to battle the Atlantis-descended barbarian. Also classic Flash foe, Gorilla Grodd. This I intuit to be sync echoes of the real-life connection between Thoth as a baboon god of ancient Egypt, prominently featured at the significant position of a wall relief right by Akhenaten relative Tutankhamun's head in his tomb. George W. Bush's potential grandfather's tarot cards feature Thoth and his baboon, and we see the same magician flirt with our female Thoth in later issues of Moore's magical series. We meet up with Thor again in the mid-70s as a giant pyramid jumps out in the middle of New York City. Dwelling inside are the original Holy Trinity, Isis, Osiris, and Horus. Speeding to the rescue, our hero passes a Saturnian planetoid, removes the pyramid by creating a vortex or stargate with his magic hammer, and flies off past the ritualistic pyramids of 9/11, all in a day's work. I call the towers pyramids to express my view that they represent the pillars of Freemasonry and Solomon's Temple, which in turn found their origin in the pyramids of Giza. See the 9/11 Stargate video for details. New Avengers Illuminati member and leader of the Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic, is currently in theaters along with the Silver Surfer in the second Fantastic Four film, inside the pages of Marvel's The End. This superhero team, the Surfer and Four, can all be seen alongside and thereby become synchronistically resonant of Chief Architect Mason, probable historical Moses/Aaron, Pharaoh Akhenaten, as well as Prince of Atlantis, King Namor, another New Adventures Illuminati member. Our Illuminati member, Mr. Fantastic's subordinates, the Thing and the Human Torch, can be seen saving members of the public and a thrill seeker from a fire in the 9/11 pyramids in this 1980 Marvel 2-in-1. In a particularly revealing panel, we see this Illuminati, Akhenaten, and Atlantis resonant character create a vortex around both buildings in mystical entrainment with 9/11 as a Stargate event. Further perusal of this issue sees the elemental heroes having to rescue the same thrill-seeker from museum thieves. Adorning the museum, we view Egyptian sculptures including the famous Berlin bust of Queen Nefertiti, Akhenaten's wife, as well as a seated pharaoh Khafra, alleged Giza pyramid builder, with protective spread wings of the Horus hawk over his head. Does this winged head symbolism hint towards the origins of our array of similarly decorated gods, and their current pop culture incarnations, comic book heroes? If non-human primates like gorillas can be associated with Thoth, then the 76 King Kong film becomes most relevant indeed. Jeff Bridges, a Starman and Fisher King Grail quester, tries to help our giant Thoth, a moon god, attracted to the twin pyramids, which, along with Luna, beckons the monster to climb the fated landmark. In keeping with the synchromistic helicopter theme of the previous video, where it was hinted that these particular craft were involved in the 9/11 Stargate open, the sync web again points towards helicopters, as we even see Thoth Kong causing one to crash into a pyramid. Our omnipresent cuboid Kaaba, possible King's Chamber representing sphere sculpture, bears witness to Thoth Kong's demise. A menacing henchman of Galactus, Terax, is seen fighting Illuminati member Mr. Incredible and his crew atop the twin pyramids. It should incur little surprise by now to learn Webhead, Thor, and fellow New Avengers Illuminati Iron Man play bit parts in these synchromistically rich 1982 Fantastic Four comics. High above Manhattan, Terax creates a spatial distortion that envelops and transports the entire island to the stars. The tops of the towers protrude through the field and we see space surround the buildings. The brawl continues atop the pyramids, with the giant Galactus entering the fray from his spherical spaceship and eventually creating a device which is described as a great machine exploding on some mad world where time runs backwards. Superman, a thinly veiled savior deity of celestial origin, much akin to Horus and Jesus, has the following synchronicities to share with us. The very day after the September 11th ritual, this issue showing the destruction wrought by alien forces, including the Lex Towers, in yet again sinister resonance with the real-life events. Particularly relevant for our purposes, please notice the juxtaposition of the 3 Giza pyramids fronted by 2 broken pillars or columns, smack in the same panel as the 2 towers. Godspell, a 1973 musical head-scratcher, sees no less than Superman t-shirts sporting Jesus, his disciples, and John the Baptist dance atop, well, you know. This is all too precious, considering in my opinion the 9/11 Stargate event marked a pivotal shamanic initiation of the new Aeon of Horus, very similar to the probable Masonic affair we currently call the Crucifixion of Jesus, last of the Pharaohs. This particular shot of our dancing Superman Jesus is obviously being filmed by a helicopter. And now folks, things get a little weird. A 3,000-year-old relief in the ancient Egyptian city of Abydos in the Temple of Seti I sees, relevant to our inquiry, the image of a bee, and what some believe is a helicopter. Tellingly, no one disputes the bee.
What's with these disappearing clocks?
Well, I've discovered a new rare element I call bombastium. I didn't know where it went until I was flipping through this history book one day.
It went back in time!
Gyro, can you invent a machine that can send me back in time to stop that explosion? I call her the Millennium Shortcut.
Again we find Thoth McDuck's time machine becomes synchromistically relevant as its predecessor's tiny little helicopter clocks show up in ancient Egyptian art, and even witness the Millennium Shortcut itself teleport to ancient Egypt during the creation of the Sphinx. Is Thoth, the pyramid builder, dare we speculate, a time traveler to ancient Egypt, somehow involving the magical Stargate ritual of the 9/11 pyramids?
One more tower drop.